Jeffrey Enna. I'm a huge fan, follower of your YouTube channel. In your opinion, why aren't the police or the FBI looking into Scientology's torture claims more thoroughly, or raiding the gold base and rescuing all the parishioners? And why aren't ex-Scientologists that were physically abused by David Miscavige moving forward with assault and battery charges? I mean, the government has task forces for anti-human trafficking and child abuse. Why do you feel Scientology and David Miscavige are so untouchable? Okay, Jeff, well, it's not that they're necessarily untouchable, but I do understand your point. And this was actually something taken up in the HBO documentary as well. And the point is that the FBI actually was investigating the Church of Scientology at one point a few years ago. And there was a court case that was lost on the human trafficking in California. And it was lost because of First Amendment freedom of religion. And the church is, has this this First Amendment protection, and it allows them to get away with things that they really shouldn't be allowed to get away with. I kind of have my own opinions about First Amendment protections and whatnot. There's lots of I'm not going to say that it should just be canceled or something, but in the case of something like Scientology, it certainly needs some review. Scientology never should have been granted tax exemption and First Amendment privileges in the first place, but whatever. So that is a problem for the courts, because a judge cannot get into judging or making value judgments about a person's religious beliefs. And they have this line that kind of gets into this gray area where in the daily life of Scientology, if they are being abused or being there's like human rights violations going on where they're being kept up late, they're not sleeping, they're getting, this torture kind of activity, because it's in the name of religion, and because the people involved agreed to it and are part of this activity and continue to be part of this activity for quite some time, it can be difficult for a judge to feel that he can then make a legal ruling about it, because he's then getting into making a legal ruling about a belief system. And that's how I understand the court dilemma in this kind of situation. And when that court case was thrown out on First Amendment issues, the FBI saw that it was not going to be a winning case for them to go raid the international base in Hemet, California, and rescue all these people, because quite honestly, what would have happened if they'd gone in there is all those people, like is said in the video or in the documentary, would have said, no, we're here on our own accord. We're willing participants in this, and it's all good. Now, in reality, I don't know that everybody actually would have said that, but I can certainly see how it could have happened that way and how that could go down that way, because having been a true believer myself and suffered, some abuses of my own in the years that I was in Scientology, I know the mindset, and the mindset is not a good place to be. It's in fact it's a very damaged place where you like a situation with spousal abuse, you feel like you deserve what's happening to you, and it is your fault. And Scientology as a mind control activity is brilliant, just brilliant at making you feel that all of the things that are happening to you that are bad or wrong, or that you would never put up with in the real world out here, are happening to you because of you, not because of the person who's abusing you, or who is ordering you around, or ordering you to not sleep, or ordering you to not eat, or whatever the orders are. You take the burden of responsibility for all of that on your shoulders, and you make it yours. And that's the mindset. And it's, so if you go into that situation and you say, hey, come on, we're going to free you from this, you go, well, when you're in that mindset, you're like, well, no, this is my fault. I'm here I'm being responsible for this. It's right that I'm experiencing these horrible things. That's the insanity of it, and that's what we're fighting against when we're trying to reach the people who are still in this bubble world of Scientology. There's different words for it, and I don't pretend to understand all the psychology behind it. I can just explain my own experience with it and some of what I've learned since I've gotten out. And the best analogy I can make to it is the battered wife syndrome, where she stays with the guy and stays with the guy and stays with the guy until the guy kills her because she feels like she deserves it or whatever is going through her head on that. So that's why you don't see people filing assault and battery charges against David Miscavige. They wouldn't even, it doesn't even enter their head. It's a thought that never even occurs to them to do. I was once assaulted in the church when I was in the Sea Org, and I can tell you, again, from my own personal experience, that it never entered my mind to go outside the church and go file charges with the police, although I certainly could have. I could have walked right off the base. I could have, walked over to the police station or called 911. I could have done that easily. And it didn't even occur to me to do that because I knew that what had happened to me was my fault. And that I'd screwed up, that I had done something really wrong, and I really pissed off this, senior executive of Scientology, and I'd been, and I got, for it, and it was all on me. So that's the best I can do on that one.